Zoron is going to win, and he's going to win on the backs of Gen Z and millennials. Early voting has concluded in New York City, and we see a clear pattern. If you look at the data that's actually coming out of New York from the early vote, the under 45-year-old vote share is 46.5% of the total early votes. And much of the polling that is predicted a neck-and-neck race, a 50-50 race between Cuomo and Zoron, they have projected a 30% under 45 final poll. That shows you that right now, because Gen Z and millennials are coming into their own politically and finally seizing their power, we have a real chance to change politics in this country and in the Democratic Party, where we won't have to be doing lesser of two evils, but rather candidates who support the causes that we believe in and we actually believe want to achieve change.
Now, chat, there's a lot of political commentators out there, and they have beliefs and they have thoughts. When the going gets tough, when they're actually asked to make a call, they pussyfoot, they're cowardly, they don't actually put what their beliefs are, their analysis to the test. I do. And when I do, I get it right. And not only did I get it right, because, saying that Zoron could win, that could just be cope, right? That could just be irrational optimism. But I told you why he would win on the backs of Gen Z and millennials, and that's exactly what happened. I even said I don't even think it'll be close. I called it exactly right. Now, the reason why I want you to look at this situation is because I want this to be the credibility that you draw upon so you could trust what the fuck I say. What I tell you to believe, what I tell you not to doom, you're supposed to be strong. How many of you tried to doom to me? And I said, don't you dare doom. There's a clip of mine where I explain that Doomerism is the last stage of your liberalism. I may be a sharp-elbowed guy. I might be a dick. I might be somebody who is mean, but I am fundamentally at my heart a revolutionary optimist. Your Doomerism is your liberalism's final stage. It's the final boss. When you're a doomer, you've realized that liberalism is bankrupt. You've realized that there's all these crises facing our world and this country and even you. And they all seem so insurmountable. And so liberalism is telling you, all right, you figured it out, but you can't change anything. You're just an individual. You don't matter. And so socialism is when you say, you're right, I am just an individual. I don't matter alone, but I have friends everywhere.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think Doomerism is the final boss of your liberalism. Like it is like if you're a liberal and then you transition into and learning about socialism, learning about things, liberalism is telling you, yes, you may be right about all that, but you can't change anything. You can't do anything because they want to turn you from a possible professional revolutionary to an apathetic drone who is apolitical again. That is the final antibody that they deploy against you, is the feeling of despair and doom. So if you feel despair, if you feel doom, you are suffering under the final death throes of your liberalism. And it's important to you to finally throw those shackles off and start to effectuate change, even if it's small things. And that's what I'm trying to advocate for.
Brilliant. And it's a perfect loop from how we started our conversation about anger with actualization.
Do you think the Dems will learn from this? No, I do not. The question is, are you going to learn from this? Stop asking if the Democrats are going to learn from this and start asking, are you going to learn from it? Are you going to start demanding the best candidates instead of the lesser evil candidate? Are you going to start demanding progressivism and democratic socialism and Medicare for all and free college and peace in Palestine? Are you going to learn from it? That's who needs to learn. The Democratic Party are scum. You need to learn. You need to stop compromising. You need to stop giving in. You need to stop giving up. That's who needs to learn. You. I think one of the worst things about leftism is that a lot of socialists, because we hate pain, because we hate the bitterness of defeat, we soothe ourselves with these like stories of determinism, the fact that nothing can ever change, nothing can ever get better, we can't win, the system is rigged, it's impossible. It's a way of soothing yourself. I think the thing that you can do to truly, truly, truly mature emotionally is to learn how to be in pain. occupy that pain. Like, I'll give you an analogy. Whenever I'm hurt, I go over in my mind, how did I get hurt? And sometimes it was unavoidable. Sometimes you're skating across a patch of ice and there was a invisible piece of slush, and then it made your edge catch and you fall down. Sometimes the branch you thought was sturdy was actually riddled with termites and gives way and you fall out of the tree. There is only so much you can do. Sometimes you failed and it was no fault of your own. And sometimes it's the opposite. I should have been more careful. Should have kept my head on a swivel. Should have connected a safety harness. Should have put on those safety goggles. Sometimes when people fail, like Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn failed, it isn't because it was impossible for them to win. It's because they made mistakes. Don't turn away from pain by soothing yourself with lies that nothing can change. That is liberalism. That is apathy worming its way in because you are not emotionally strong yet. Emotional strength is taking it on the chin and then standing back up. That is what real leftism is. Leftism is undefeatable determination and drive. Or as they say, you get knocked down, you get up again. That is why I will never be a doomer. In fact, I think being a doomer is one of the most pathetic things you can be by far. I actually think being a doomer is more pathetic than being a liberal or even a MAGA. If you want to like make me dislike you, the single best way is to be like, I'm a doomer. I don't think anything can get better. And I just so like, I don't want to be cringe and like, you know. Those are the things that like, I'll hate your guts for life then. You're being unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable and not liking when people are pathetic worms. Okay, I'm unreasonable then. What if I'm a Jets fan? Can I be a doomer about them? No. In fact, you being a Jets fan is one of the best things about you. You being a Jets fan is one of the best things about you. I hate the Jets. I think they suck. But the fact that you're a Jets fan is one of the best things about you. You never give up. No matter how many times you're humiliated, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how many times it doesn't work out, you're there. And your hideous green and white jersey that everyone thinks it looks like shit. You're there, taking another pie to the face. And when far, far into the future, the Jets finally win something again, it'll be sweeter. It'll be an excess. It will be a euphoric feeling. When they finally win something again, you will be a true believer who stuck with them through thick and thin. It'll be up there with your wedding day or graduation or getting your dream job, the finest ecstasy of your life, and you'll have deserved it. Sure, it may be far, far, far in the future. Sure, your eyes may be white with cataracts because it's so long in the future. But one day, dimly seen from your last good eye, you may see the Jets win something. And on your deathbed, as you release that last breath, you can finally get them to turn off the machines because you saw the Jets win. That's how far the future it will be. But it'll feel really good. Be a revolutionary optimist. Be somebody who sees the contradictions in the system are going to fail and that people in their heart of hearts are communal and cooperative and kind. And we will overcome this sociopathic era of capitalism. And 1,000 generations from now, when people look back at this time in history, they're gonna look at capitalism and they're gonna be fucking mind-boggled. How did they let a tiny class of sociopaths rule over them? It will be our generation that will be seen as the one that lit the spark. We may not live to see the better day. We may not reach the promised land of ourselves, but you have the honor of being in the generation that starts the journey. We're not in the middle of the trek. We haven't reached the end. So like, imagine being a doomer. Imagine being a doomer.